Okay, this is a requested tutorial from Tammyland, and this is about the pen tool. So I have the pen tool selected. If you right click it, you have the pen tool, which is the P hotkey, freeform pen tool, add anchor point, delete anchor point, and convert point tool. Now up here, you have shape layers, which will use the pen tool to like make a shape. Kind of similar to just like Microsoft Paint shape, but instead of being colored shape, it'll just be just kind of like imaginary shape until you do something with it. Then you have the Paths tool, which I find most useful, and the Fill Pixels tool. And the Fill Pixels tool is going to, if you make a circle, it'll fill the circle with color. I prefer using the Paths because it is the most versatile. Then you have the pen tool and the freeform pen tool. The big difference between the two is the freeform pen tool will plot down anchor points, and the freeform pen tool is just going to follow your cursor around, similar to the lasso tool if you're familiar with that. Now you also have some shape tools. Depending on which one you select here, I suggest Paths, yet again. It's the most versatile. Rectangle tool, well, make a rectangle. A rounded rectangle tool. You have the oval tool, and if you hold shift, it'll make circles. And then you have the, is that an octagon? No, polygon. Polygon tool, and you can like kind of swirl that around and stuff. Shift will like make a perfect polygon. If you find them useful, use them. Those are great for doing rounded edges. You also have the line tool, which is just click and drag to make a line. Hold shift to make a straight line at 90 degrees, 45 degrees, 180 degrees, etc. And then you can go into these, which I'm going to show you in a second. Edit step backwards. The weight would be how wide. Then you have the shape tool. And you have different settings. You can do from center or not. I prefer to leave it be. You can load more here. Those are the ones that come with Photoshop. Or you can, make your own and save them and such, which I'll show you in a second. Or if you can download them. Just a quick preview. This is a bunny. If you right click, you'll get more options of different shapes you can do. To fill them, you're gonna probably easiest just go to the pen tool again, right click, and make selection, or say fill the path. It makes a bunny. Delete path. Auto add and delete is another thing. It'll automatically add or delete points when a path overlaps with itself. Kind of handy. Turn it on and off depending on what you're doing. It might, be your best friend or your worst enemy. Then there is the add to path area, which is kind of obvious. It'll add to the path. Subtract from path area, obvious. Intersect path areas, which should mean that most of the time when I use that, sometimes the pen tool gets wonky on me, but it'll make any two path areas you make that are overlapping connected. The one I use the most is the exclude overlapping path areas, because then I can make a circle. Here, I'll show you. Okay, I made this weird shape, and I made another weird shape around it. And if I do fill it, it'll only fill the outside ring, which is kind of handy path. Okay, and now I'm going to get into how to better use the pen tool, a little more from the basics. So I'm wanting to outline the I can't pronounce it. It starts with an S, but the eye basically. So I'm gonna hold down the mouse and just click once. And if you have rubber band enabled, it'll have this little line following where the path is gonna go. Now to make this curve down here, you could either make a bunch of straight lines, which, you know, can look okay, but I prefer, when using the pen tool, to just find a point where I think I can make a good curve, click, and hold, and drag it around until you're happy. It'll automatically try to make the same curve that you just made. To get rid of that, hold the Alt key and click back on the path. You can also, say if you messed that up, you can say delete anchor point just by right-clicking on it. Free transform points is kind of nice because you can move them around. Just gonna click on something else. Don't apply. There we go. Back to the pen tool. I'm gonna quickly select the rest of the eye. For a big loop like that, you're probably not gonna make it the whole way, so I would just use a couple smaller ones. There we go. So you can kind of fix some mistakes you've made. Delete anchor point, you know. Say I don't want that one there. Then go back to convert anchor point tool, and I need to make this one different. Right? Bunch of different things you can do with this. You know, sometimes it'll be kind of annoying, but most of the time it works pretty good. I think I covered all of those. And the freeform pen tool. Freeform pen tool just follows your mouse around. And as soon as you end, it makes a path, or if you close it off, it'll make a selected path. So I'm just going to delete it. And I think the pen tool is best used for line art, you know, making line art. So I go to the pen tool, and I'm just going to do the same thing I did before. Hold down the Alt key. That's kind of rectangular. The only problem I can see people having with this tool is because sometimes the roundness won't match up quite right. It takes a while getting used to. I think mine didn't match up right there. But say if I wanted to make a different picture out of this, you know, wanted to color it from scratch, you just have to go to stroke path, and you can use the brush tool. Whatever brush you have selected and the foreground color. There you go. What I think is even more useful is a make selection. You know, new selection feather 0, anti-aliased, and that makes, you know, a selection. Now you can do whatever you want with the selection, you know, fill it, change the colors, blah, blah. But what's really nice about this is you can stroke inside, center, outside. I'm going to do the center, and then you can change the pixel width. I'm going to go about 2 pixels. Deselect, and then you get that nice thin outline of the eye. And that is, you can change it. If you messed up, just go back, stroke, and change it. Or just stroke it again and stroke it with a larger pixel width. And I think that's everything about the pen tool that I can think of. So I hope that helps. And if you have any more questions, leave a comment or a message.